I had a very interesting message on my Telegram account, and it said, I shut down my Twitter because I don't want to really become famous for my sex work, small town problems. And here comes something super interesting. This is a fear-based decision, first of all. And the second thing is that you always have two choices in life. One is be a slave to others, what others think, what others could believe or give me problems, whatever. Or you come into what I call the libido self-empowerment. Libido self-empowerment means following your joy and your sexuality, no matter what others think. If you follow your highest joy and your highest sexuality, then you program and you prepare your life to be full of joy and excitement and fruits. Sometimes it needs a little bit of investment, so you're going to have a few choices that you're going to have to make in the direction of libido self-empowerment. And eventually, those decisions will lead to maximum, opportunities and excitement. And even making the choice for libido self-empowerment is kind of liberating. And the moment that you make choices, it could be small choices. The moment that you make choices because of fear or against libido self-empowerment, that's the moment that you suppress your libido, you suppress your joy, you suppress your sexuality. And that down the line creates a frustrated, unhappy life. That's just how it works. And so my advice in every decision that you make, choose libido self-empowerment, higher joy, higher sexuality, because you're activating your sacral chakra. It's basically a logical, almost scientific explanation to what Bashar says, follow your highest excitement. But I like this a little bit more because it makes it very clear. Sometimes you might say my highest excitement is to take some drug, okay? But I'm going to say is, does taking the drug give you less or more libido self-empowerment? And you will realize it gives you less. But what gives you more? For example, choosing to make more money independently gives you more libido self-empowerment. So it's a better toolbox, but a very similar one to what Bashar says, follow your highest excitement. And that is the best. By the way, this has come to me in a silent channeling. So I said in silence and I received these messages. And libido self-empowerment was one of them. And I give you one example, which was disastrous, but it gave me a good... the reception of that channeling came after the fact. So it's not like I did that purposefully. But so I stayed at a person's place. She was a little bit older. She had a lot of cats, 90 cats, cat sanctuary in southern Spain. And it was a lot of stress with the cats, but it was interesting because for me, it was new. So I stayed with her for a month and a half. And pretty early on, she said, because she knew I was a Tantra yoni masseur and we were speaking about it, I gave her one session. And it was like, she said, I don't want other women or girls on this property. But she let her friends have a session with me. So that was kind of awkward. And then I said, well, if we find somebody and we split the money or something like that, she would be like, okay, whatever. But in the end, I was helping her out. That was voluntarily. I was helping out voluntarily, that I was, lifting heavy boxes. And then I did something with my back, with my lower back. Since then, I've had lower back problems because I lifted a box which I shouldn't have lifted. And like cat food, stuff that comes in big packages, whatever. And my mistake was And then in the end, it turned out that she was a toxic metaframer. She talked bad behind people's back and backs, and it got worse and worse and worse. And eventually she said to me, I want you to leave today. You have like 2 hours to leave. And it was passive aggressive the way she did it, because she found out that I was actually communicating toxic metaframing on the internet. And I gave an example anonymously, but I gave an example on the internet about this. She found out about it through another helper that was there that was also toxic metaframing. And so I gave an example, and they saw that example, and it triggered their ego so much, although it was anonymous, that she kind of like snipped and she sent me this WhatsApp instead of speaking to me directly. So it was obvious that she was extremely hurt in her ego, and that it was a knee-jerk reaction. It was not conscious. It was a toxic metaframing as well. And that she wanted to take back her own power. She felt I was taking, somebody on my channels explained it to me. They think that I became too powerful at her place energetically, and she needed to take back that power. And she had a lot of hate towards men also, which she kind of like tried to hide and pretended she doesn't have. But I know when there is unresolved hate in the body. I can feel it, and being with that person. And I mean, I'm an energy healer, so it would be strange if I don't feel it. So, and now that I was there for 1 month and a half, I felt the longer I stayed, the worse I felt. And another woman once told me, which was very funny, she said, you can overstay your welcome. And that was definitely overstaying my welcome. But the thing is, if I had made a choice right from the start, what gives me more libido, self-empowerment, I would have actually chosen not to go to that place at all. Because living with an older woman that obviously has her issues, that's her place, I'm not going to be able to do what I want on the terms that I want. So it's definitely a lowering of libido, self-empowerment. It would have been something else if she had a lot of young women there, and everybody wanted to have like tantric sessions with me, and she wouldn't say anything. But that's extremely unlikely. So and I'm traveling with a campervan, so basically I could have went anywhere else and spent 1.5 months anywhere else. The only good thing that it had at that moment was that it was extremely hot. It was the summer, so I spent my summer at her place, which was good for cooling off, because Southern Europe in the summer in the campervan, you need like a air conditioning. You get no chance. Like I had several times the feeling that I'm gonna die. Like it was so, and you know, the rents, like Airbnb, whatever, is in summer there is insane. You're gonna pay everywhere. I don't want to talk about it. It's just really insane. So that was the only good thing. But looking back at it, I mean, a lot of people, for example, if it gets too hot, they go in the Midi-Pyrénées, in the Pyrenees, what they're called, and just to cool off a little bit. So that's an option. And that would have been a choice, because France was also hot at that time. But let's talk about the libido self-empowerment. Always make the choice for libido self-empowerment, even if it means paying a little bit more, for example, for an Airbnb or whatever, you know, or managing to solve that problem somewhere else, how differently. Like, for example, long-term rent, you know, you can do over the summer, you could do long-term rent or whatever. I don't know. The camper van, for example, in terms of libido self-empowerment, depends. Like, if you're very happy and you have enough space with the camper van and it allows you for joy and sexuality, then the camper van is fantastic. If you feel that it actually limits your opportunities sexually and joy, then for whatever reason, then it's not fantastic. So you make every choice you make based on that, even if it means letting some old stuff go. For example, if you live on this in a village and you're gonna have to move maybe somewhere else, um, then of course that's something you have to let go. But I always make the choice now for libido self-empowerment, and down the road it pays off. It pays off tremendously. It pays off in all ways, like money, joy, sexuality, everything. And now comes something which is a little bit radical thinking. Like, if you're in love with someone and you have a fantastic relationship, then we usually tend to make choices which are not libido self-empowerment. And I'm going to say something now which is very radical, is even in a relationship, you should make choices for higher libido self-empowerment, because down the road, you're going to be more attractive for your partner anyway. And even if that partner leaves, then you're in a perfect position to find someone else. If you reduce your libido self-empowerment all the time, and then suddenly the partner leaves, which nowadays is very likely eventually, then you're in a very bad position and you have to start everything from scratch. And those are things that I'm 100% sure about now. And I think that concludes it for now.